New innovation in the aviation industry is unfortunately pushing us out the era of the quad jets and is instead giving us smaller and more efficient twin-jet aircraft like the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787. With every passing year, quad jets are getting rarer, and when the world went through the pandemic, most airlines started to retire these inefficient giants sooner than expected. For British Airways, this meant saying farewell to the Boeing 747, leaving us with the last quad jet British Airways will probably ever operate, the Airbus A380. I've flown the A380 a few times in the past, but when I found out the A380 would be reinstated after the pandemic on the London to Washington route, which was also well timed with a trip to see my family, I knew I had to jump at the opportunity and fly this whale of the skies in Club World. Club World is the name given to business class on board British Airways, and while business class is usually great, British Airways are currently renovating their entire long-haul fleet and introducing the Club World suite, which is currently installed on the A350-1000, 787-10 and some 777-200s and 300s. British Airways received their first A380 in 2012 and they haven't been retrofitted since their launch with the airline. However, the A380s are suspected to be refurbished starting in late 2023, with all A380s featuring the Club World suites by 2025. After passing through security, I could then choose between the two business class lounges British Airways have here at Terminal 5, and I tried both of them. The South Lounge is located next to the Concorde Lounge and seems quite a bit larger than the North Lounge. However, with the low ceilings and a darker atmosphere, it does make it feel a bit gloomy. As well as this, with Heathrow being BA's hub, there are bound to be huge amounts of British Airways business class passengers who are also trying to use the lounge, making it extremely busy and very hard to find anywhere to sit. However, the inner model collector in me came out when just outside the South Lounge they have these pretty cool models. A British Airways 787-9, a Landor L1011, a BOAC 747-100, and a British European Airways DC-3. I then made the 4-minute walk over to the North Lounge, and with those pretty cool models aside, this is definitely the lounge I prefer. Despite being smaller, it feels a lot more open with an indoor terrace area, and this is where I decided to stay. Being midday, there weren't many hot food options available, but instead, soup, sandwiches, and nachos were in full supply. Following that, I also had some carrot cake with a coffee, and after waiting for a couple of hours, I then took the train over to the Sea Gates. And here's the aircraft I'll be flying today, Golf X-Ray Lima Echo Echo. This is a 9-year-old Airbus A380, and sitting next to it is Golf X-Ray Lima Echo Foxtrot. I flew this A380 over to Washington DC in 2017. And not long after that, boarding began and I found my seat. Upon boarding, you were given the option of orange juice or champagne, as well as the menu to choose your main course for this evening's meal. The Club World seats are spaced out in a 2-aisle 4-aisle 2 configuration on the lower deck or a 2-aisle 3-aisle 2 configuration on the upper deck. To the right of your seat you get a tray for some of your belongings, the controls for your seat and privacy screen, the remote control, the TV which swivels out, and of course the tray table. Before pushback, I noticed another one of BA's A380s on a downwind approach arriving in from Vancouver, but then we started our taxi out to runway 27 left. After takeoff, you're then given a selection of nuts along with a beverage of your choice. And following that, it was time to get out the noise cancelling headset and take a look through BA's quite outdated entertainment system. While some people find sitting in a rear-facing seat weird, I personally didn't mind it much until I found a flaw. While our aircraft was climbing, my tray table didn't seem to want to stay still, as it started sliding away from me, which I found pretty funny. Then a little later on, the main meal of today's flight arrived. I had gone for the chicken, leek and mushroom pie with tomato and cauliflower soup, bread, butter, crackers and cheese. Then after dinner, you were given the choice of tea or coffee. This was my first transatlantic flight since before the pandemic, and I really forgot how much I missed it. I believe that what makes us happy as an adult stems back to what we enjoyed as a child, and one of my favorite memories as a child was traveling to the US every summer to see family. And I find that even now, that happiness is reinvigorated in me as an adult every time I fly. The sky is truly my happy place and is just one of the many reasons why I love aviation as much as I do. At this point, we started flying over Canada as the cabin crew came around with some crisps and a beverage of your choice. Not long after that, as the sun started to set, we were then served a pesto and sun-dried tomato panini with more crisps, carrot cake, tea or coffee and a cold beverage of your choice. Now with about an hour or two to go before we arrive in Washington, let's take one last look around the seat. In the regular upright position, the seat provides you with more than ample legroom, as well as a footrest that turns into the bottom half of your bed that folds down by turning this handle. Then down to the right you get a USB and universal outlet, along with a drawer for some of your personal belongings. Above that you have the controls for your seat and privacy screen, and then you also have your TV remote along with another USB outlet. This style of Club World seat is really starting to show its age, with many other airlines offering a much more premium product. However, for an 8-hour day flight across the Atlantic, it really wasn't that bad, and with all A380s expected to be retrofitted by 2025, I look forward to seeing what they'll look like then. What really stood out for me today was the food. I definitely did not go hungry or thirsty on today's flights, with the food and drink being served at pretty much every opportunity. But overall, I was extremely impressed with today's flight. Yes, the lounge at Heathrow was busy, and yes, the seat is not the best business class product out there, but those both seem like first world problems compared to the luxury I experienced in every other aspect of today's flight. And with that, I want to thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.